H.P. Lovecraft, Gothic Tales. I just finished this book here. Now, this book here contains 3 short stories from H.P. Lovecraft himself. Now, before I talk about the book, I did want to mention that I've never, ever have heard of H.P. Lovecraft. This is my first time ever reading one of his books, one of his stories. This is the first time I've ever heard of H.P. Lovecraft and who he was. H.P. Lovecraft was an American author born in 1890 and passed away in 1937. And he's best known for his short story, The Call of Cthulhu. When I first heard the story, or the title, The Call of Cthulhu, I mean, the title itself seemed interesting. So I looked it up. That short story revolves around what his writing is all about. You know, his writing, his horror is very unique to him. They have a name for his type of horror. It's called Lovecraft horror or cosmic horror. It's different from all the other types of horror. Blood, a killer, slasher killer, knives and like Chainsaw Massacre and those type of horror books or movies. It has its own kind of uniqueness to it. This cosmic horror, this Lovecraft horror, where it's basically the fear of the unknown, this cosmic fear. His philosophy, when I researched H.P. Lovecraft or Howard Phillips Lovecraft, the universe is so vast that there are things out there that we cannot comprehend as human beings. And that when you look at the human race compared to the universe, humans are insignificant compared to the universe. And so that's basically the whole premise of his type of horror. And I like it. I think it's interesting. I think it's smart because I do believe that there are things out there in the universe that we as humans cannot comprehend. I think that the human race, Earth alone, is such a fragile thing. When you compare it to the universe, we can just die from a meteorite, asteroid, whatever it is out in the universe that can kill us. And that's what I liked most about H.P. Lovecraft, learning about him and what he is and what he writes about. Now, this book here, I like this book here because it gives you 3 short stories from H.P. Lovecraft himself. Now, this is not the only book in this type of series. It says other titles in series. So you have Christmas with Charles Dickens, Christmas with Hans Christian Andersen, other Christmas stories, and then you got poems for morning, poems for nighttime, poems on friendship, poems on nature, poems of love, poems of hate. You got Edgar Allan Poe Gothic Tales and Mary Shelley Gothic Tales. So those are 2 other authors that are a part of this series. And it's funny because I was trying to get Edgar Allan Poe first, and I couldn't find it in the Barnes and Nobles here where I'm at. And I found this one, H.P. Lovecraft. And like I said, I've never heard of him, so I thought, why not read this short book, which I finished like in 3 days. This book you can finish in 1 day. You can finish this book in 1 day. I finished it in 3 because I had to stop. Now, the 3 short stories of this book here, they're called The Outsider, The Music of Erich Zann, and The Terrible Old Man. And I like these short stories. They were very witty. They're very weird. It's basically what I just described about like this cosmic horror. The first one, The Outsider, was my favorite out of the 3. Different from all the other types of stories that I've read. Now I'm going to describe what the first story is about so you guys kind of know what H.P. Lovecraft is all about. If you haven't read him or heard of him. The first story, The Outsider, is about this man who can't remember anything from the past. He's stuck in this castle, very dark. There's no light. And this castle is within a forest, trees taller than the castle. So he can never see sun. He can never see the light. And he's wandering around the castle, finds a library, reads some books. And he's never met anyone else. And it's just kind of weird at first because something's off. Obviously, there's something off about this character. There's something wrong with the situation that he's in. And he goes up this tower, and at the top of this tower, he finds this slab door. goes to the slab door, and the slab door closes on him. And next thing you know, the next scene, he's at like a cemetery, and he sees the moon. And there's like this moonlight. He finally finds the moon, and he follows this trail outside the cemetery, comes to this different, I think it was a mansion or a castle, I can't remember. And he finally sees people. There's people, they're having like a party, and he sees these people, talking to one another through the windows, and one of the windows was open. Jumps into the window to try to talk to these people, and they're all scared of him. They all run from him, and he realizes what they were scared of. He looks to his left, and he sees this thing that he cannot describe, and he's scared of it, and he's like, "What is that?" And there's this horror because of this character, this thing that's to the left of him, and he realizes that it's a mirror. It's him who the people were scared of, and it's this whole plot twist. It was awesome. I liked it. The other two stories are kind of like that. There's this plot twist to it. There's this weirdness, this strangeness to the ending. But that's what I got from H.P. Lovecraft, The Gothic Tales. Nice short book to get. It's cheap as well. I'm very interested in reading The Call of Cthulhu. I mean, that's what the man is known for. So that's probably a book. It's actually a short story, The Call of Cthulhu, that I'm interested in. I'm going to read it. And it's quite interesting because just recently I started listening to Metallica, the band Metallica, and they have a song called The Call of Cthulhu. From what I've read online is that the band's manager, I don't know who it is, recommended the band the book to read. They read it, and I guess they made a whole song inspired by this story of this monster and cults and all sorts of things. That being said, that's what this book is about. H.P. Lovecraft, who he is, the Gothic Tales. I enjoyed it. I'm going to read The Call of Cthulhu someday. I know I will. It's just something that interests me. I'll see you guys soon. Thank you guys so much for watching.